Sometimes events take place in our ecosystem that inadvertently fuel the very misinformation we've all become so frustrated and tired of seeing across the mainstream media publications. In real time, the vacuum of social media can easily lead to split opinions, misunderstandings, and from the outside looking in, form the perception of trouble in Cardano paradise. But when you strip it right back, search for context, and really drill down to the raw facts, what occurred over this past weekend is just the result of an extremely passionate community evolving, stepping up to the challenge as the power shifts from the hands of IOG over to the Cardano community, and there are many positives to be taken from this. What we witnessed in effect is what true decentralization looks like. Disagreements, discussions, solutions, the sign that the community is taking equal responsibility in steering the Cardano blockchain safely through its stages of development. Above all, the Cardano community demonstrates once again that it's fully engaged and capable, alongside IOG, in journeying towards full governance. If anything, recent events have only made me more bullish on Cardano and the amazing community that we're all a part of. Welcome back for today's installment of Cardano Insights, where we track the all-important developments at the very pulse of Cardano and its ecosystem each weekday. So let's get straight into it. So first up today, and let's talk Vasil. I think it's fair to say that this weekend's events, whilst in the very short term, has led to the crypto media outlets predictably jumping on the narrative that there's some kind of major problem with the progress surrounding the upgrading to node version 1.35.3. This will likely blow over quicker than it materialised, as the reality is, the headlines are just clickbait soundbites designed to spread fear, increase engagement, and ultimately attempt to take the shine off what is going to prove to be one of the most significant upgrades across the entire blockchain space. If anything, what occurred in the past 72 hours or so has only evidenced further that we're part of an extremely decentralized ecosystem and have a highly intelligent, engaged community of developers and SPOs, which is vital if Cardano has ambitions to realize true governance. In my opinion, whilst yes, the situation could have definitely been prevented or handled differently, it provided a great example that if any community is capable of successfully transitioning to a fully self-governed one, Cardano is showing all the signs that it has the necessary ingredients to achieve this. To break this all down in the most simplistic way, based on my understanding, is that if you remember last week we covered Charles calling for all SPOs to upgrade to 1.35.3 to mainnet, followed by many SPOs in the community calling for further testing before they felt comfortable to run the new version on mainnet. Charles then did in fact correct his call to action, requesting all SPOs to start the process down the path to upgrade, which I think included testing in the pre-production and preview environments. As the situation developed with more SPOs seeking clarity from IOG and calling for additional testing, IOG held an SPO call with over 300 SPOs attending. From what I've gathered, this was extremely productive, and IOG, as expected, were very accommodating in terms of addressing the needs and concerns of the SPOs. In the midst of all of this, many conversations and threads were being published on Twitter, one of which from a prominent Cardano developer surrounding the bugs found in previous node versions, and fact that as a result the original testnet was completely broken. From what I understand, the idea was being put forward that this testnet should be recovered, with the new version 1.35.3 being tested in that environment before moving everyone forward to upgrading. In addition, the idea that a full post-mortem should be carried out to release to the community for ultimate clarity surrounding the bugs that delayed Vasil in the first place. During this thread, the testnet was referred to as catastrophically broken, which is what ultimately made the cut for multiple Cardano YouTube videos, thumbnails, and subsequently mainstream crypto media headlines. What I take from all of this is not so much the language used in the thread, as let's be honest, I'm sure we can all agree that it's great we have developers and SPOs in the community who genuinely care about the security and success of the Cardano blockchain and want to perform rigorous testing in true Cardano style. The real issue is the way in which prominent actors in the Cardano YouTube community chose to use this headline seemingly without thinking about the consequences and damaging effects it could have on Cardano's reputation, especially surrounding such a significant upgrade, when we're all too well aware how the mainstream media loves to jump on any chance it gets to negatively report on Cardano. But with that put to one side, let's look at the real facts. Whilst IOG are highly confident in the latest release and consider the extensive testing carried out during the rigorous internal testing process to be sufficient, they still responded to the SPO concerns and agreed to spin up a special dedicated testnet on Friday that met all the testing goals requested by the community. I think the idea here is to see if the bug found in previous versions could be reproduced, then referenced against the latest release. I believe today there will be a hard fork for the public testnet, which will be the first public testnet to cross Vasil on version 1.35.3, and will in turn go a long way to alleviate the concerns brought forward by developers and SPOs. If you're interested for more of a granular breakdown, check out Andrew Westberg's latest YouTube upload, linked in the description, who breaks this down nicely. I look at this situation from the following angles. In terms of developers and SPOs, I stand by my belief that we have the very best in the Cardano community. Their dedication to the cause is extremely encouraging, and this weekend has served as a great reminder that we are indeed blessed to have such a capable community that has Cardano's best interests at heart. From a crypto YouTube perspective, we need more accountability. We can't forever complain about how poor the mainstream media is when it comes to reporting on Cardano, if in turn we're going to run with the headlines that only fuel this behaviour. Whilst clicks and engagement are important, I'd argue that this can be achieved without shocked faces and sensationalised misleading headlines. Finally, to Charles, I was a little surprised to see the negative reaction he received after calling out the videos and discussions responsible for the headlines that subsequently came in the mainstream media. Vasil is something IOG have worked tirelessly to deliver. They evidently took a massive blow when the bugs were identified, and have in turn worked extremely hard to resolve and get Vasil delivered for the entire community as quickly as possible. This is such an important milestone for the Cardano roadmap, and I think anyone that wants the best for Cardano should be able to at least understand Charles's position on the matter, that the last thing we need is more misinformation spread to the masses, especially when related to tech developments. So let's take a look at where we're actually at with Vasil. Currently in a mixed node environment, here you can see that we're now over 25% of SPOs running on the latest release, 1.35.3, so that's a third of the way there to meeting the 75% required to trigger the hard fork event. So far, the additional testing being carried out by the SPO and developer community is demonstrating IOG's belief that 1.35.3 is indeed ready for Vasil, as they're all reporting all tests being carried out are showing that everything is working as expected. I'd expect this week that we'll see a number of SPOs upgraded to really ramp up off the back of the additional testnet and further testing being carried out by the community. So putting the negative headlines behind us, let's face it, the facts still remain. Vasil is on track. Alongside IOG, I'd argue we have the best community of developers and SPOs in the industry, and as I always like to remind, we have some real mammoth projects still waiting in the wings, ready to deploy, which is going to rapidly evolve our ecosystem in the coming weeks and months. My biggest takeaway from this weekend's events is the fact that our community is so critical, hands-on, productive and solution-based is exactly what is going to drive decentralization and lead us towards true governance. As the power increasingly shifts from IOG to being in the hands of the community, it's extremely reassuring that we have so many examples of the Cardano community stepping forward, taking ownership, and importantly, delivering results that are so critical for the continued evolution of the Cardano blockchain. If this doesn't make you more bullish on Cardano, then I don't know what else to say. Now for some real promising project updates surrounding AADA Finance and Muesliswap that reaffirms my opinion that the lending and NFT bond marketplace is going to form a real important part of the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. So first to AADA, if you remember I recently gave you this update that the project isn't actually relying on Vasil to launch, and once the audit is finalised, which is very much underway, we could well see the project launch pre-Vasil, which is exciting in itself. Here you can see the team preparing us for launch with the news that their first round of governance voting is now complete, as they announce the initial tokens that will be added for borrowing at mainnet launch. So some very familiar tokens such as Milk, Meld, World Mobile, Liquid, MinSwap, AADA itself and Wing Riders to name but a few. The significance here is that these tokens have been voted through by the community. AADA have empowered their community to shape the protocol in a truly decentralized way through the use of DAO governance. Only tokens voted through via proposals will be eligible to be used in the peer-to-peer lending and borrowing process. But before moving on to Muesliswap and how this is in some way connected to AADA, I want to remind you of something that I've mentioned many times since starting this channel. The innovation AADA are bringing to the ecosystem is their unique NFT bond concept. As explained previously, the secondary marketplace that will form off the back of this, in my view, is going to be a real game changer for the lending and borrowing scene. This concept of a loan being issued in the form of an NFT bond is one pioneered by AADA Finance. They are the team that have introduced this to Cardano, and once we see the secondary marketplace take shape, a lot of credit has to be directed their way. However, initially, from my understanding, in terms of a secondary marketplace where these loan bonds can be traded at launch, this marketplace won't be provided by AADA themselves. Later on down the line, I believe they too will have a form of marketplace integrated with the dApp. However, initially, they will be traded on alternative platforms. Enter Muesliswap, the team that just keeps appearing in my update videos for all the right reasons. Seemingly always delivering some kind of upgrade, new product, tech or innovative features with the DEX. And here we got this announcement. Muesli has grown even bigger. We're excited to share that we're working on Muesli Lending. In its first phase, it will include a bond market DEX, trading of NFT loan bonds. Stay tuned for more information about the testnet. In the next phases, we envision to extend Muesli Lending with a lending aggregator, Muesliswap lending protocol. Who doesn't love a good aggregator? We're excited that our Muesli ecosystem is growing, and stay tuned for some exciting news around Pluto Bay. So this is really interesting. It would seem that it's not just AADA who have identified how significant the secondary NFT bond marketplace is going to be. It looks like Muesliswap could well be the first players to capitalise on the fact that a bond market DEX is yet to exist on Cardano, and with the imminent launch of AADA's peer-to-peer lending protocol with NFT bonds, may well be the first DEX to facilitate such a marketplace. I'm not sure if this is in a direct collaboration with AADA, as nothing to this effect has been announced, but I am aware they have a real good relationship, so I think this move could be a real healthy one for the ecosystem. Now checking in with World Mobile, and something interesting I came across when checking out their latest development diary. Whilst we've covered extensively on this channel the significance of the work being carried out in the developing world, remember World Mobile intend on expanding to any region that suffers connectivity issues, truly a global model. The idea being to fill in the gaps that the legacy networks are unable to fulfill. We've also covered how they started work on expanding this to parts of the States where 27.6 million households still don't have internet access and 30% of the landmass lacks cellular coverage. We'll take a look at this with respect to progress in the US. Here they write, evaluating and planning first USA deployments in Wyoming, site visits and potential first rollouts scheduled for early September, meeting with local and national government officials to address the unconnected regions of USA, discussions ongoing with mobile network operators. This is a very interesting development. With rollout happening as early as September, I think this is both credit to how hard the World Mobile team are working to expand their network, and also is a great development when we think about adoption. Just think for a moment about the impact successful rollout of this infrastructure is likely to have in terms of exposing World Mobile and Cardano to the US market, showcasing the utility, use case, and further enhancing the brand. A move like this will prove to be extremely powerful in terms of demonstrating the power of a mass decentralized cellular service, completely undercutting the existing providers with their unique business model and ability to reach areas the legacy operators have so far been unable to provide for. As always, we'll be tracking the progress on all things World Mobile very closely. Finally, last week we discussed the announcement of the announcement relating to this year's Cardano Summit. Well, over the weekend we got the actual announcement and dates, location confirmed. So the event will take place between November 19th to the 21st in Switzerland, with over 50 community events worldwide and virtual attendance through livestream, much like last year's event. The official registration is opening soon, but you can follow the link in my description to sign up to be notified when registration goes live. So that's it for today's installment of Cardano Insights, as we keep track of all the developments in our ecosystem and continue to spread those positive Cardano vibes. If you found value in the content, then please be sure to comment, share, like and subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate all the support. We'll be back tomorrow with your daily roundup, and until then, thanks for watching, have a great day, and as always, keep it Cardano.